Welcome to the Global Gaming Business Podcast. Today's podcast is sponsored by Pavilion Payments, which empowers gaming institutions to create an enhanced patron experience with a complete suite of integrated payment solutions that enable safe, secure, and trusted cash access at the cage, on the casino floor, or online. Learn more at pavilionpayments.com. I'm Roger Gross, the publisher of GGB, and today our guest is Paul Hobson, the president and general manager of the Sahara Hotel Casino in Las Vegas, who will talk about the transition from the SLS and back to the Sahara. The establishment of the SLS from the former Sahara didn't go according to plan. The LA hospitality brand didn't resonate in Las Vegas, along with some regulatory hurdles, so when Alex Moreno, the Southern California businessman and owner of the Los Angeles Angels, purchased the property to go along with his Grand Sierra resort in Reno, he got a bargain. Even though SLS had renovated the former Sahara, Moreno began a program to once again redevelop the original Sahara brand and another renovation. He brought in Las Vegas casino veteran Paul Hobson to lead their effort, and the results are dramatic. Hobson explains how it worked in a discussion with me at his offices in the Sahara in January. Paul, it's great to see you here. Just walking quickly through the property here, it's really an improvement. And even though the SLS, they did a nice job, this is another step up.
Well, thank you so much for that. You had a second to talk to our designer, who we just happened to pass by in the hallway, and she's done absolutely amazing job transitioning from what was the SLS when we got it to bringing back the name of Sahara to the Strip.
Absolutely. So let's talk about that transition from SLS to Sahara. As I said, it was a nice property, when it was SLS, but bringing it back to Sahara, kind of bringing it back to its roots. So how difficult was the transition, and what did you do to accomplish that?
Well, I think the most challenging part of doing it was continuing to be open all the way through it.
Right. Yes.
So
absolutely.
When you're doing it piecemeal and you're interrupting the business as you go about it, it's very, very challenging operationally. But I think that the results certainly speak for themselves. It was worth it. I think we took something that was very heavy on the nightlife vibe. Everything that SBE did was clubs, so the whole place sort of felt like a dark nighttime club. Right. And what Alex really wanted to do was sort of bring back some warmth and light and some great finishes that create an environment where people want to spend time, day or night, right? So and I would say that one thing that SLS did, because when the Sahara went out, it definitely wasn't a premium product. Right. SLS was a good palate cleanser, I think, for the period of time that it was installed, and it really laid the foundation to reintroduce Sahara as more of a premium, upscale, boutique, intimate property. And that's what we're striving for, and that's what we've done in our design. Sure.
So as you walk through the hallways, you see some of the pictures of the old Sahara, and in the old days, it was the premium property in Vegas. With Wayne Newton started here, and then so many of the great artists used to come here.
So what do you
believe?
Prima.
Exactly, right. So what do you believe is the legacy of the Sahara?
Well, I think that we want to lay claim to some of that authenticity. A lot of times, Las Vegas, tears down its legendary properties to make way for what's next. What we wanted to do is, sort of claim that history as our own and use that, foundationally for, creating new Sahara. And it really is all new. But those items that remind us of the past, give us a reference point and things that we want to continue to evolve and build on going forward. So we do have some really great pictures on the walls, almost museum-esque. That, you can learn a little bit about the people that have passed through here in the 72 years that it's been a fixture on Las Vegas Boulevard.
Yeah, no question. So you've been leading the property for almost 6 years now, and you mentioned there were a lot of changes, but what were some of the most key changes in your view?
I think obviously having a single owner like Alex is very different for today's Las Vegas. It used to be like that all the time, right? That every property had an individual owner, and that individual sort of had their thumbprint on everything that was going on. Yeah. And now it's the exception. Outside of Alex, maybe you have Phil Ruffin. Maybe you got Derek downtown.
Right,
But
yeah.
really, being able to work to fulfill what he sees is the vision for the property, and not having corporate interests that we're reporting to, or board of directors. You got one guy,
Sure,
right?
right.
And you want to do something, you go and talk to that guy,
Right,
and,
yeah, exactly.
and you go yes or no, and you go fast,
Right,
right?
yeah.
So I think that what we've done here over the last 6 years, might have taken more than a decade in,
Sure,
a,
right.
in a different environment.
Right.
But we just hit the ground running and went.
Sure, so when you have a single owner, it's pretty easy to turn the ship, not a huge corporation.
Yeah, it's a little bit quicker, and
Mhm.
also we're talking about the only minority owned casino
right.
on the Las Vegas
Sure,
Strip,
right.
and that sort of helps us in a lot of ways, because a lot of people are looking for diversity spend in,
Sure.
in their group meeting business, things like that, and then you also have a workforce that looks a lot like Alex's
Mhm.
extended
Sure.
Hispanic family, and gives us good standing with that crew as well.
Right. So Alex Murillo also owns the Grand Sierra in Reno, which is really, I guess it is the premier property in Reno. It's a gorgeous property,
Yeah,
and they've done a great job with that. So how involved is he with the operations and the strategy for the Sahara?
Oh, very, like with both of those properties.
Okay.
He owned GSR first.
Right.
And that used to be a Kirk-Krikorian
Right.
property, so very, very big,
Mhm.
covers a lot of ground.
Right.
Built on a big plot of land
Right.
as well.
Sure.
In fact, has so much land that, right now, he's pursuing building an arena,
Right.
similar to T-Mobile
Sure.
is to Las Vegas. An arena for Reno
Right.
that would be adjacent to everything that's happening at GSR.
Sure.
So that's certainly an exciting time. But much as he's done here, took what was sort of a challenged property, updated it where the investment made the most sense,
Mhm.
turned it into something new and special and different than what it was, and had great success. Now, very, very different market,
Sure,
right?
right, sure.
Reno to Las Vegas, it's much harder to stand out in Las Vegas, given the depth of the offerings here.
Sure.
But there is a price of admission, right?
Mhm.
So we got to be at a very high level just to be in the game. Up there, I think that the high level there really stands out, and like you said, makes them the premier property
Sure.
in that
No
market.
question. We've done some stories and interviews with them up there. There's some really talented executives up there. Do you all have get together and have brainstorming sessions, or talk about what you can do at one property, maybe you can do at another?
Absolutely. No, we are very connected as a team. I mean,
Okay.
being owned as a family business makes us all part of that
Right.
family.
Right.
So certainly when we're finding success with certain things, we want to share it with them, and vice versa. And when we're looking at opportunities, to deploy, resources, systems across two platforms instead of one.
Right.
Looking for advantageous pricing in that regard, and a little bit more volume to our purchases.
Right.
That's also a great affiliation to have.
Yeah.
But that was Alex's first property, really,
Yeah, sure, right.
in a lot of ways, his baby.
Mhm,
And
yeah.
what he knows about the casino business, he first learned there, and the people that taught him that are still members of the family, and
Right.
And we do indeed share a lot.
Sure. Okay, great. So you're kind of just getting started when the pandemic hit. How difficult was that for the Sahara in particular?
Man, super difficult.
Yeah.
It just you asking the question sort of takes me back to that point in
Yeah.
time where
Yeah, you don't wanna get depressed.
Where we were just like really starting to hit our stride in a lot of ways.
Right.
Con Expo was
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
That that trade show was bringing the right kind of customers at the
Mhm.
right kind of price, and we were looking really nice. And at the tail end of that show, everything just fell apart.
Right.
And you said
Yeah.
you got to close,
Mhm.
and you hear something like, you got to close, and I'm looking at the doors, and
Right.
they don't even have locks on them,
Exactly,
Roger.
right,
I mean,
yeah.
there's no locks on the doors. How
Right.
do we close? How do we secure
Mhm.
this place? And it was it was definitely a sad week as we prepared for that. And I remember with the rest of the management team, we were down in the walk-in coolers and
Yeah.
on the receiving dock,
Yeah.
and we were putting together bags
Mhm.
of items, everything, produce,
Right.
cauliflower,
Right.
Yeah,
that wouldn't
olives,
last. Yeah. Right.
loose 6-packs of beer,
Yeah.
things like that we could share with our team as they were leaving,
Mhm.
not knowing, when we might see them again
Sure.
and what the future held,
Right. Yeah.
for that near term, what they were going to need in their lives to get by.
Right.
And so we were making up care packages of the things that we knew that we weren't going to be able to keep around,
Right.
and send them out the door with it. And so that really resonated as we got a little bit further into it, keeping that core team together to, basically prepare for the day that, we knew that was coming, that would be able to reopen.
Sure.
But then reopening in that diminished capacity in those, in those couple of months, after, what was it, in June probably.
Right.
That was super challenging as well. So I know every operator you talk to will tell you the same thing. It was,
Right.
pretty unprecedented, a lot of improvisation, a lot of ad-libbing, trying to do right by everybody, from
Sure.
the guests to the regulators to the team members, to make sure that we were in good standing for when we emerged from some of that limited capacity. And certainly that's the way it played out, but it lasted a lot longer than I would have expected.
Sure,
And the recovery certainly wasn't immediate. We still have the hangover in Las Vegas, I think, from, we don't have the same level of international travel that we had prior to that, and that disruption, will eventually return, but it's not coming suddenly.
Sure.
That's for sure.
Right, great. So were you able to do some of the changes, while the property was closed? I mean, you mentioned, doing some of the construction and things like that, when you're open, but.
Yes.
So,
yes.
so did that kind of help you a little bit?
Well, it did in a way, and Alex, certainly all of his businesses were disrupted through the pandemic, and he's the kind of guy that's reinvesting, the money as it comes in to build, the host of things that he's involved with, right? So, capital was a little bit scarce for sure, but his commitment never wavered. And what we were able to do was continue development of the restaurants in particular. Like, we had moved our primary restaurant lineup from what was the sort of the middle back of the casino. We wanted to put that on Las Vegas Boulevard, so we pivoted to that side, and we were able to keep construction going on those projects, so that we were able now to be fully outfitted on that side. But it does bring to mind all the supply chain disruptions that were in place. Well, we were entirely finished with one of our great restaurants here, with a great James Beard Award-winning chef named Sean McLean. It's called Bala Italian Soul. It's really terrific. If you haven't tried it, you got to try it. But we were done, except for one piece of equipment. We needed the air handler that was designed specifically for the HVAC in that room, and months went by. Months went by till we could finally get it and install it. But makes it all the more remarkable that Fountain Blue was able to open on time, because we were having that sort of disruption. I can't imagine the things that they ran into as they tried to finish that building.
Sure, great. So we were talking about the legacy of Sahara. Does the legacy include some of the old customers of the original Sahara?
I haven't met a lot of those, to be honest with you,
because they'd be pretty old right now, right?
Certainly the Sahara has been around a long time, but we have had the chance to talk to people that Sahara was an important part of their lives. Coming up, maybe working here as they were getting into the industry. A lot of people have some sort of tie to it in their past, right? And we sort of have continuity in that thread that runs through the community in that manner.
Sure, okay. So every property in Las Vegas says locals are important to them, but locals are really kind of abandoning the Strip with its parking fees now. I just drove into your garage and you have no parking fee.
No fee, right? You're able to drive right in and park. Right. Well, and I hope you had a good experience, leading up to that, because it is really hard to get into the place's center strip.
Right.
And where we sit off of Sahara, it's easy to hop off of I-15.
Right.
Head to Las Vegas Boulevard. It's a quick right and quick left, and
Right.
you're in our free parking garage.
Mm-hmm.
And we think that definitely is is an amenity that we enjoy putting out there, and being able to tell people
Sure,
that
right.
if you want to come out and have dinner at Bazaar Meats one night, celebrate a special occasion, that type of thing, parking's not going to be a problem for you. You get in easy, you get out easy, and there's and there's no fee.
So how important is the locals market to you?
How important is what?
The locals market to you?
Well, I think that the most important part of it is everybody that works here lives here.
Yeah, right.
So as far as the labor market goes,
Right, sure.
we're deep in the locals market.
Right.
But I think most people will tell you that your strongest locals market is the rooftops around you, right? And some of our most compelling rooftops are in the high-rise condo towers
Sure.
that we have here. So
Right.
so Turnberry is a
Turnberry,
really
yeah.
important development for
Mhm.
us. The Allure Tower,
Right.
right up on Sahara is also, not to mention some of the old neighborhoods
Sure.
like Scotch
And
80s and things like
some
that.
of them are very elevated neighborhoods
Right,
these days too.
right.
Yeah.
So we want to be those people's place, for
Okay.
their for their outings, for their entertainment, for their meals, for their gaming, and we do quite well with that. I think that we're fairly aggressive in our club and our offerings, and it's segmented by local and non-local, and we try to structure things in a way that
Sure.
would please those real frequent guests that might be here 2 or 3 times a week,
Right.
Versus the people that are coming once or twice a year,
Sure.
and flying in from another market. So we certainly take that into account, and we've had good luck growing that since the
Right.
since the SLS era.
Mhm. Okay, great. So you have a new neighbor, the Fontainebleau, opened about a month ago. They're having some operational problems, but nonetheless, it's a closer casino to you. People will walk there and maybe walk a little further to see you.
Yeah, well, we definitely share some DNA with them,
Yeah.
and not just where we sit, but a lot of the folks that were working with us
Right,
here
sure,
in building this out, wound up taking positions there as well.
Yeah.
From line level to upper management.
Sure.
So there is a connection, and you always wish people the best when they're when they find an opportunity they think is going to be great for them, and take that step.
Sure.
So it's nice to have friends over there to talk to and sort of compare notes and
Yeah.
be able to cooperate with on when you have the ability to collaborate on some stuff. It's important to us
Yeah,
that,
sure.
that they're successful and they do well, and it really brings some gravity to this end.
Right.
It's early still,
Yeah, sure.
as I'm sure that
Right.
they would tell you. I mean, 3,700 rooms is a lot of rooms.
A lot of rooms,
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of rooms, and to start from no presence in Las Vegas or in gaming really,
Right.
and build that business and build that database.
Right.
There's going to be a ramp up, and
Sure.
So we're certainly prepared for that.
Yeah.
I hope that they are,
Yeah.
but we think that long term that it will be a symbiotic relationship, and just as people enjoy circulating Center Strip,
Right.
having a couple options for people, whether to stay in here and being able to visit Fontainebleau or Resorts World, or they're staying at Fontainebleau and them coming this way to check us out or change their luck, or have a little change of pace. I mean, that doesn't do anything but help.
Right, right. So you mentioned database. You opened this SLS opened without a database, and when you came in, you didn't have any really a deep Las Vegas database. How have you been building that?
Well, as I said before, trying to do things, incentive-wise in our club that appeals to the right type of person.
Right.
We would like to utilize, a good portion of our hotel rooms for casino customers,
Sure.
and have them take a bigger proportion of our overall inventory.
Right.
You just need to find qualified customers
Sure, of course, right.
to do that. So we've done some innovative things in that regard, not just on the club side, but also on the team member side.
Right.
Dealers are in short supply
Right.
these days,
Sure.
and it used to be that casinos would run their own dealer school,
Right.
and then sort of the private sector turned over, and if you wanted to be a dealer, you would go pay somewhere
Right.
to teach you how to deal blackjack. What we did is we sort of reverted back to running our own dealer school,
Okay, yeah.
advertising for the right kind of person that is really into service, wants to be in this
Right.
Be in this industry, and grow our grow our own dealers that
Sure.
are going to provide the type of guest experience that we see as being so important
Sure.
to us and our future. And that's been going great. We've been at it for about 8 months now.
Mm-hmm.
We've had 4 graduating classes.
Okay.
We've had minimal turnover of those people that have gone through that. And we really, it's gratifying not just to see the results in revenue, but also to see the results in our survey and
Sure.
our service scores that
Yeah.
our guests notice the difference.
Well, that makes a lot of sense to actually hire the person you think will have the service background, or will understand service is important as a dealer, just as important as being accurate.
Yeah, and I think that is one thing as a community that we could do a little bit better. I don't think that people know the magnitude of the opportunities that Las Vegas offers.
Sure.
And it doesn't stop with dealers.
Right, sure.
I mean, I don't think that a lot of people say living in San Bernardino
Right.
know that if they moved up the road 3-4 hours, that there's jobs here that you could come in with minimal experience.
Yeah.
If you were a couple, you could both get jobs in housekeeping pretty soon. I mean, immediately within a couple
Sure.
weeks, your
Right.
household income is $100,000.
Yeah.
Right. And you get free health care, right?
Mhm.
Because that's paid
Sure.
for through us
Right.
through the union,
Mhm.
right? So we're
Yeah.
paying for that and pension and more than a living wage.
Right.
And you all of a sudden you got enough to make your car payment. You got enough to buy a place, right?
Right, sure.
You send your kids to school. I mean, I talk to people that have been here for a long time
Mhm.
and have raised generations that
Yeah.
very way, and their kids are getting out of college now, right?
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and they're entering professions that are making Las Vegas even stronger.
Mhm.
And it's really a great cycle. But I don't
Right.
think that I don't think people know.
Yeah.
And I want more people to understand that, because we just aren't automatically creating more people to
Right.
work in this industry.
Sure,
We
right.
need to work at that.
Right, okay, great. So tell us your strategy on entertainment. I've been in the showroom. Obviously it's a legendary showroom with, like you mentioned, Louis Prima and Wayne Newton and hundreds of other legendary acts have been in there. But when it was redesigned, it was done pretty well. I really enjoyed. I went to a conference there when it first opened. And,
Oh, that's great.
And I really liked the showroom. How has that been working for you, and how does that affect your entertainment strategy?
Well, if we're going to talk about entertainment at Sahara, first and foremost, we got to talk about Magic Mike Live.
Okay, yeah.
Right, and
Yeah.
that show doesn't occur in the theater. That occurs in a space that we built specifically
Okay,
for
right.
them. And it's been a great association with us and Channing Tatum, and put that show on stage in a bespoke theater.
I just did a podcast with Simon Thomas from the Hippodrome, where
Okay.
he's got a Magic Mike show too.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
He just can't
Yeah.
stop praising
Yeah,
it.
so Simon has been here. We had
Right.
had a meal at Noodle Den,
Yeah.
and we went and saw the show together and compared notes about
Right.
the experience of
Sure.
being in business with them. Great guy,
Right,
great guy.
yeah.
But that being said, that's been a great traffic generator
Sure.
for us, and it's really sort of best in class in
Right.
sort of a female celebration
Mhm.
show. It's not it's not a striptease thing.
No, right.
It's really a production show with
Yeah.
a lot of great performances, from dancing to singing to telling a
Mhm.
story. There's some great props that come in and out. It's just a really fun night out.
Yeah.
And I went with my wife, and it was a rewarding experience.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's fun. But as it relates to the theater, we right now aren't continuously programmed in there,
Mhm.
but we do some promoted shows.
Yeah.
And it is a nice setup for that, because it's fairly turnkey.
Mhm.
Somebody can come in, there's a video
Right.
element to it, the audio's all plug and play and ready to go, and we can get something going really quickly in there.
Right.
We are in discussions with others about installing more of a permanent production show.
Right.
And I think we'll be ready to announce something really soon. But I
Mhm.
think it's the kind of thing that sort of will appeal to a wider array of people
Right.
than Magic Mike does, but also in a really fun way, and
Sure.
something that isn't happening right now in Las Vegas. So it'll be
Right.
unique in that aspect of it. So when that happens, I'll call you first.
Great. So I know you've got a really aggressive food and beverage strategy as well. You mentioned the new restaurant, the new Italian restaurant. I got a chance to go to Bazaar Meats one time, and I thought it was one of the most fantastic meals I ever had. You know,
That's a universal sentiment.
Yeah, it's an incredible property. So where are you going with that strategy then?
Well, I think in a lot of ways you could say that those restaurants, you know, are emblematic of how we see the property, right? Mm-hmm. Like I said, Magic Mike was best in class.
Right.
We have a lot of best in class, you know, restaurants as well. You know, we have a best in class, you know, sports bar in Chickies and Pete's. Like that's an East Coast brand that you won't find outside of the Philadelphia area, right? That you know, we were their first restaurant, you know, in the West, and you know, it's a licensed concept. You know, they came in and taught us everything we needed to know about the brand, and we executed every day, and they couldn't be more pleased, you know, with us, nor us with them. So you know, it's great. We're in the middle of football playoffs right now, Super Bowl coming up, and we've become that spot. You talk about locals, we've become that spot that a lot of locals want to come, you know, and spend the day watching games with us. You know, but it's also a food forward sports bar. Like, you know, it's not just about coming and getting a beer and watching the game. Like the things that we're putting in front of you on the menu, you know, are really special. It's called, you know, Crab House as well. So it's tons of seafood as well as, you know, Philly cheesesteaks. So you know, that's a really great feature for us. And you move one restaurant up and you'll find the Noodle Den, and we've got, you know, some of the greatest Asian artisans, you know, making dim sum and hand pulled noodles in that restaurant, as well as, you know, wok favorites, you know, the things that you'd find in a great Chinese restaurant. And you know, not only is that great for the people that are, you know, staying in the hotel and looking for, you know, something quick to eat, but it's also good for the Asian customers that are playing, you know, in our baccarat room. And so, you know, it sort of serves the purpose of reinforcing the casino brand. And then you move up one more space and you're at Bala Italian Soul, and I told you about, you know, Chef Sean and being a James Beard winner. A lot of people don't know this, but he was also Iron Chef winner. Like he competed on the TV show Iron Chef and won his episode. You know, but he's an amazing partner, super creative, but developed that restaurant specifically for us and what we were looking for, and it has really, you know, great but novel Italian favorites, you know, sort of presented in a way you might not have seen somewhere else, or crafted in a way that, you know, just elevates it with the ingredients and the technique that they use. So, you know, super happy with that. It's a great room, has olive trees in it, has patio windows in the front, so you're sort of like you're on the veranda overlooking the strip. So that's pretty cool. And then of course you mentioned Bazaar Meats, and that's the next stop up that row. And you know, to be in business with Jose Andres right now, I don't think that you could find a more popular or beloved chef for, you know, his philanthropy as well as his skills in the kitchen. And you know, that's become something of an institution. We're almost 10 years in on that restaurant, and you know, filling it you know, every night, and it's not a short experience, right?
No,
I mean, when you go there, you're going to be there for a couple hours,
for sure.
and you're going to enjoy every minute of it, and every morsel they put in front of you. So you know, that's great. And we also have our coffee shop, which is called Zephyrs, and you know, they gets you your breakfast and lunch, and we have a great street taco place called Uno Mas, and those are both our concepts, but you know, that culinary quality, you know, that's also part of our DNA, and we really lead with that in a lot of ways. Have a really skilled team that put those restaurants together and execute them night in and night out. It's really great.
Great. So you also have a lot of meeting space, some really nice ballrooms. I've been in several of them, it's easy to get to. It's not like you have to walk all the way across the property like some Las Vegas meeting areas. And also, you're at the terminus of the monorail, so people can get to the Las Vegas Convention Center or anything up the Strip very, very easily. So, how important is that in your overall strategy in the meetings and conventions business?
No, very important. And you mentioned the monorail, of course, so that's a great connection to any citywide that's going on, that's utilizing the convention center. So it makes us, a real compelling place to stay for that. But I wish we indexed a little bit more to meeting space, to be honest with you. It's like, I could use more. We're kind of a tweener, right? I think we can comfortably handle 500 or 600 person groups, but that puts us out of sort of the 1,000 or 1,200 people that would like to see this. This week we're very busy with the group that's taken up 1,100 of our hotel rooms, tonight, tomorrow, and the next. And to pull that off, we're utilizing the restaurants during the day to kind of serve their meals and sort of use those as adjuncts to the meeting space to be able to do the program. But what's cool about that is I think that's more memorable than having your breakfast or lunch in a meeting room. You're kind of in a more novel environment. Sort of a fun venue.
It gets them to know the property, and maybe they'll come back when they're not in a convention.
Well, you definitely get to see a lot more of it and see the quality of it. If there's one thing that I would just drive home about Sahara, is that it's really all new. And if you have a notion in your head of what Sahara was in the year 2000, you need to wipe that clean. And you need to come in and check this out, because it really is sort of a premium and fun property to experience.
Sure, no question. So we've had a lot of great events in Vegas over the past year. We just had F1 in November. It didn't come by the property, but it was still on the Strip. And of course, we got the Super Bowl coming in a couple of weeks as well. How did you do during F1, and what are you doing to prepare for the Super Bowl?
Well, of those two events, I will tell you that for us, Super Bowl much stronger than F1. That being said, I think that Las Vegas is becoming more known as a place for sports. That actually you're experiencing the event here. I am fully supportive of having F1 here. I think that they just need to change the approach a little bit to attract a broader range of people. It was horribly disruptive for for everybody that was on the race course.
Like it.
And the only people that are really touting how great it was were those premium properties that were on the race course. I think the LVCVA certainly owes it to everybody to work with Formula One to make sure that that abundance is more widely spread.
Sure, no question about that. So, what do you see as the future of Sahara? It's such a great location, and you've got you have Fontainebleau now. There's actually talk of them building the A's Stadium across the street at the festival grounds. I don't know who knows where that's going to end up.
Well, that was early on. I mean, that seemed to be, to use the F1 term, that seemed to have pole position, for a while in where the stadium might be. For us, if that were to turn around and come to be, that would definitely be a game changer for the neighborhood. And I think, just for Las Vegas in general, it's such a more balanced place.
Yeah, it makes more sense, I think.
For that feature, not just for us, but for downtown, for the rest of the North Strip. And I already said how easy it is to get in and out of here. I don't think you can say the same for I-15 and Tropicana. Right. I mean,
the mess they have at Tropicana now.
Yeah, exactly. So I guess it's one of the downfalls maybe of sort of being outside of the incorporated city, where it makes planning a little bit harder and the land use. But if there was a way to steer the A's to that location, I mean, we certainly lobbied for it and would be fully supportive of doing everything we could to make that happen. But that being said, we realize that, you know, the cavalry's not charging over the hill to make us successful, right?
Exactly.
You know, we have to do the work.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that's what we're about. We're trying to build those relationships with our guests and with our team that, you know, will make this a vibrant and sustainable business for the next 70 years.
Great.
And I think that, you know, certainly having new development like, you know, Fountain Blue, freeing up that lot that's next to us in between Fountain Blue and Sahara, you know, to maybe get a new feature going there. You know, that's encouraging.
Sure, right.
That, you know, some neat stuff will happen in the future, and, you know, we'll be there, you know, ready to not only make it happen, but receive it when it does.
Right, great. Well, congratulations on what you've done here. It's a beautiful property, and I think once people start to realize that this isn't the old Sahara, that it's the new Sahara, I think there's be a lot of people that will continue to come here and make it their base in Las Vegas.
Well, thanks, Roger. Tell your friends.
Great, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on the GGB Podcast, sponsored by Pavilion Payments, the industry's leading cashless payment provider. To learn more about the topics discussed today and all the important issues in gaming, check out Global Gaming Business Magazine. For a free virtual copy of the magazine, subscribe at ggbmagazine.com. To stay current with the weekly news of the gaming industry, subscribe to ggbnews.com. Use the coupon code GGB180 for a free subscription. Don't miss a single episode of the GGB Podcast. Subscribe on Amazon, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts today. So we'll see you next time on the GGB Podcast.